Good morning. I'm Kate from What Kate Made, and welcome to my Christmas centerpiece demonstration. Now, unlike in previous demonstrations I've done for you, I haven't got here's one I made earlier because this week has been so frantic. I've only had time this morning to assemble all the materials I needed. So you're going to craft along with me. There may be mistakes. So first thing I'm going to show you is the candles I'm going to use, because I always like a candle in the middle of my table. I very rarely light it, and I always have one on my hearth as well. So you can choose. I'm going to choose to work around a big pillar candle like this, and my centerpiece is going to be a wreath going round it, and it's going to be little bits winding up it as well. Hence why I won't light it. I'm using a mixture today of greenery, like live greenery, and things I've made with upcycled materials or with natural materials or with felts and paper. The live greenery that I'm going to be using, because I always find it's really nice around the table. This is off my bay tree. I have a bay tree. Well, it's a bush really, and it grows very. I use it for cooking with, so it grows like mad. And so this is its time of year it gets a good prune. Also in here is some thyme, a little sprig of thyme. I will usually use rosemary as well, but my rosemary is all dead in the garden, and I haven't had time to go out and buy any. So those are the greenery. So I'll have several pieces of that. I've also made little paper leaves. This is ivy. If you watched my autumn wreath demonstration, all the leaves I'm making are done in a very similar way, but I will show you how they're done. I have also got some, where are they? I've got some beads, recycled beads. I'm using quite a lot of them. I've got these lovely little dried orange slices. These are actually last year's, so they haven't got such a huge scent with them, but once they warm up in the central heating, they will. I've also got some. Now, one thing I have had to buy in this year, normally I would use recycled beads from necklaces and brooches and things, but I haven't been able to find any red this year. So I have dug out from the back of the cupboard some fake red berries, because there's a lot of red berries on the real stuff either this year. I've also used some of my recycled baubles that I was given, and I've wired them up on a stem. Everything we're going to do is wired onto a stem. It makes it so much easier to manipulate it. What else have I got in here? I've got ribbons. So I've tied some bows, again, put them on a wire. I've got some, cinnamon sticks. They're nice as well, because they will, that one's going off its wire. They will also smell nice. They've kept their smell, actually. They're last year's, but they've kept their smell. What else have I got? Pine cones. Pine cones. I can find them. Bring my box over, it'll make it easier to find things. I've got some pine cones. They're not as easy to wire on, but I have again wired them. So I've got that natural pine cone. I've also got some silver ones that sprayed. I'm going to show you how to make one look like a snowy one later. And there's just this one. This is a different type of pine cone, so it's got a different shape. That one's easier to wire on. And I've also got some little loops of gold beads. My mum was a florist, and she always put loops of wire, loops of ribbon and things like that. And I was looking through my box of recyclable Christmas decorations, and I thought they looked nice. They were actually part of a decoration using these. So these little chains were fastening together these sort of gold, I suppose they're icicles. And I thought they'd be quite nice to provide some height and texture to it. I think that's everything I'm going to use today. I've shown, oh yes, I've got some those beads I showed you earlier. They're wired up as well, because I use them as mistletoe berries. Right, so that's all the materials I'm going to use today. Don't worry if it seems overwhelming and you think I'm never going to be able to make that, because I'm going to show you an example of each of the things and how I wired them up as we go along. Now, as regards what are we going to put our leaves and berries and baubles on, there's a couple of options. One is this, which is a twig wreath that I bought. The problem for this one is it's quite narrow. Can you see? There's not a lot of bulk to it, and with this, you really want to have a thicker base so that everything stands up. They're quite good if you're going to hang them on the wall. So, you know, you could make one using all the methods I've used today and have it as a wreath that you hang. So I'm just going to pop that to one side. Right, the other option, and this is the other candle I'm going to use. If I've got time today, I'm going to show you how to fill. Oh, let me turn that around so you can see a pot with a candle in it. So that's a smaller one, and you could even have that on half maybe. I'm trying to avoid using any sphagnum moss or any oasis because they are not very environmentally friendly. Sphagnum moss you'd think was because it's a natural material, but sphagnum moss needs to be in the ground, not in our houses where it's a carbon sink, so it needs to be left in the wild. So what I'm going to use is this. This is a simple brass florist wire frame. And normally what you would do when you're making a wreath or a centerpiece like this is you would wire on big clumps of sphagnum moss, which I'm not going to do. If you're doing with lots of live greenery, you do need to have some form of liquid, some water to keep it alive. So what I come up with, and if you watched my demonstration of making papier-mâché wreath bases, which are great for artificial but not much good for live stuff, which you need to keep alive. You'll have seen me do this. Can you see that? That's the leg of a tights, pair of tights. So what I'm doing is I'm cutting off a length about year long, and everything I do, if I'm using fabrics or some sort of soft material, I save all the little scraps. This is my bag of scraps of felt that have come about over the last few weeks as I've been doing workshops and demonstrations. And what I'm going to do, rather than making a sausage, if you like, of sphagnum moss, I'm going to make it with the tights and the stuffing, all the odds and ends. So really, it's been made with rubbish. I would say an old pair of tights, but I tend to not wear a lot of tights, so I end up having to buy them to do things like this, which is defeating the object of it. So what you do is you get a big handful of your scraps and you stuff them into your stocking to the thickness you desire. Oh, my dog's just coming to join me. You might hear him tip-tapping across the laminate flooring. So you just keep stuffing that until it's reasonably full. You will need 2 this length. If you're feeling brave, you can make 1 stocking and hold, use just 1 long sausage if you like. So I've made 2 because I made 1 the other day when I was demonstrating something. So that's your stocking stuffed with scraps. And then I'm going to, now it will hold some water. It won't be as good as anything natural, but it will hold some water, enough to keep your greenery from going brown and dead. So there we go. And here's one I made earlier. I'm going to point the camera down now because you're going to really need to be able to see what I'm doing. So just bear with me a second. Oh, you can see my hands, can you? Let's just move that across a bit. The candle's in the way, wrong way, that way. So this plate is what I'm going to sit mine on, which is a nice Christmassy plate. So I just thought I'd show you that. It's now covered in bits of fluff. So to attach when you want your sausages to fill the whole circle, so they do. And then I'm simply going to wire them on. I did have a reel of wire, which I think I've lost. I'm going to use sorts of wires I'm using today. This is florist wire, the fine silver florist wire, and this is a thicker wire that I use for stems. I'm not going to cover them I would quite often use stem wrap to cover them, but the silver wire is very fine and it doesn't really show. And as I can't find my reel, I also have this on a reel. I'm going to have to use these shorter ones to wire on. So all you do is just wire around and just to the frame. They're not going to be long enough. I might have to resort to some string. Just bear with me a second. Oh, I know what I'm going to use. I do have the stem wrap here. You'll have seen me use the stem wrap before. It's like a waxed paper. And what you can do is it does wind and stick on itself. So what I will use is this. And I'll just make it stick to the frame. It's going to be a bit awkward wrapping it, so just bear with me. I'll cut a bit off. And then I'm going to just wrap it around my sausage like that. It does look a bit like a sausage when you use brown ties, doesn't it? Just keep going around. It's only to secure the tights to the frame. And then I'm going to fasten that off and start with another piece. So again, I'm going to just attach it to, can you see me? Just attach it there. Push that forward a bit so you can see. And then I'll go around the next sausage. Put that in there. It's come off that. Go back and fasten it on again in a minute. Just the reason I've not been very prepared is because I'm trying to get myself ready for Christmas. And once again, as I quite often do, I've left it really late. So all our Christmas presents have to be ready by Monday because we're travelling to various different parts of the country to deliver them. My husband's a Scot, so he's going up to Scotland. And I'm going just not very far up the road to Kendal, which is about an hour from where I live, which is where my family are. And I'm going to be Santa and deliver the presents and visit my mum. I'm not doing a very good job of this, but please bear with me. I'll do one last bit. You could have sellotaped it on, but again, I try to minimise the amount of sellotape I use as well, which isn't always easy. I tend to do a lot of my wrapping with ribbons and string. Anyway, you get the idea. It's coming along, so it will get better as we wire it on. Sorry, you see me make an absolute pig's ear of this today. Might be better just tying it. It's all going to be hidden, so it doesn't really matter. And it is supposed to stick with that heat of your fingers. I may be a bit cold today. I'll get it to stick together. Anyway, there we go. You get the idea. I'll just try another wire on there. Maybe if we poke the wire through. So you could always wrap the wire stem round and then go over. And that's what I should have done in the first place. There we go. Wrap it over at the other side. So you can see you've got your base of your wireframe, and you've got your I'll just tuck those ends inside. We've got the stuffed sausages. So it's now got a bit of a wreath shape. So we're ready to go on to doing something with it. Now, I'll just pop that to one side for now while I show you how the first thing I'm going to put on is the greenery that I've brought in, the herbs and the live greenery. So I've got that one I've already wired, and I've got 5 pieces. And what I'm going to do is go all around the outside with this because it's quite bulky and it will sort of fill out, and then the other things are going to fill in between. But first of all, I'll need to show you how I wired this one up. So just with the silver wire, I haven't got much time left. I don't know what's happened to my time. So they're not all going to have time on them. But you will get the scent of the time. So you put your time on top of your bay leaf twig. Take your silver wire. I don't know whether you can see that. I'm coming up here and I'm going to wrap it round the two stems, just roughly. There's no need to be pretty with it because all you want to do is fasten them together and provide something that you can then wire around you. So that's two I've got with herbs in. The other three I'm just going to have to do as they are because I haven't got enough time. That isn't growing very well at the moment either. Obviously it's winter time. What I'm going to do this afternoon is go to the supermarket to shop. So I will buy some of those herbs ready cut in packet, or if I can buy them potted, even better. But you really need something with quite a woody stem for this. So that's why the rosemary and the bay and the thyme are really good. And of course, the beautiful smell. I'll just take a couple of those leaves off so I've got a bit more stem on this one. In fact, I might do that with the others. I can always wire them up again. So there we've got our greenery, or live greenery. I've got 5 pieces, which for the wreath that I'm doing should be enough. So what you do next is, we'll bring our wreath back, pull them off to one side so you can see what I'm doing, is you decide where you want them to be. And as I said, I'm going to put these sort of around the outside. So I want them like that so that they're splaying out. And then you just wire them on. So the stem that you've got left, you could get another piece of wire and just wire them on. I'm going to wire it through the frame first to make it all fingers and thumbs today, trying to do it with one hand. So that's my wire going round the frame and round the stem, and then I'm just going to go over and round the fluffy bit. I keep moving the camera out of the camera range, don't I? So you can see, and you can, because it's got the wire on it, you can maneuver it as well. So we're going to try and do this. So that's one there, and then there'll be one, sort of, so it's like evenly spaced, and they need to all go in the same direction. So that one's going that way, so this one wants to go the same way. So I'm going to again wire through the wire frame with the spare wire that's on the, just move that up a little bit. Sorry, I'm going out of camera range. I'm really rubbish today. I can't see anybody's comments either. I haven't been able to get it up again on my separate screen. So I will reply later. Apologies if you can't really see what I'm doing. So there you can see I've got 2 on now. Might move that one up a little bit, just so you can see the leaves. What I'm trying to do is create a base to then fill in the other things with. Next one I'm going to put on is one of my thyme ones, and I'm going to have this standing up a little bit more. So it's going to go about there. So I'm going to take the wire down and wire it to the wire frame again. You might be wondering, as I'm putting everything around the wire frame, why I even bothered using the stuffing, but the stuffing does give height. That might just need another wire around it, so I will again attach the wire. I keep moving out of your range, I'm really sorry. I might move the camera up a bit. And then on the other side, I'm going to put it back through there we go. Back round the wire, the base frame. These are all a little bit loose, but we will tighten them up as we go. So I've now got 2 left. So one's going to go there, and one's going to go there. But as it's the herby one, I'll put that on this side. Again, I'm going to add some extra length wire to this before I even start wrapping it, because I think I'm going to need it. So I've added extra. I'm going to tip that up a little bit because I don't think, I keep lifting my hands up, that's better. Let's come off again. I have got, as I said, and I've mislaid it, is a big roll, which is easier. It's got a better length to it. So let's try another silver wire. Fasten that to the frame again. Ooh. One of them's dropped off. Not doing very well today. So I should have practiced. I'm very sorry. I do apologise. I'm going to wire this one a bit further along its length as well. So I've got my silver wire. And I'm going to go further along its length and then just twist around the base of the wreath to hold it on. There we go. So this is the last one. And I'm going to try and get over the join in these sausages so that I holds them on a bit tighter. And again, I'm going to go and fasten along halfway along the, oops, let's turn it over. Getting a bit untidy on the back now, but never mind, because I'm not going to see the back. So that's secured that on. Let's see what we can do about these other ones. I think they all just need an extra wire near the top of them. Turn it over again so I can see what I'm doing a bit better. Yeah, I think I'm going to take off the stem wrap. I think that's proved to be pretty much rubbish. I'm just going to trim it off and then it's not in the way. It'll come off as we go along. So maybe a little bit more wire on the ones we put on earlier. How are we doing for time? Well, I'm not going to have a lot of time today. I'm going to have to get a shift on. But I really want to show you the base, because after that, everything else is more or less done the same, and you're just really filling up with whatever it is you feel you like best. Just bear with me while I just get this right. The wires don't want to fasten on this one. Maybe my base is a little bit more chunky there. Right, I think we're there with that base. I'm going to take off this brown stuff as I go along. And now you can just tweak it so you can see now we've got, I just tuck that end in. We've got a good base going on here to then fill in with our other bits of, maybe would have put another one there, but we'll see how we go. Right, so our other elements. I'm just going to pop that to one side while I show you what I've got here. So the paper ones, paper ivy leaves, I cut out from various different coloured paper, and I wanted to get this variegated effect. So I used a couple of pens that I had. So they're acrylic paint pens. This is the green I used to do the veining on the leaves, and this one is a chalk pen. And the white chalk pen gives that lovely edge, and I just painted it on around the edges. I'm going to use the white again later for something else. So that's my ivy stem. I'll show you how to wire up a pine cone. This is the pine cone. You're going to need glue for this one. You need a thick, I've used a thick one and a thin one, so a thick wire and a thin wire. They're quite difficult because if they don't open at the bottom, it's very difficult to get your wire to actually attach. So you need to just sort of go around trying to get the wire under the scales, the silver wire. Then if you look at it like this one, it's got a little tiny bit of a stalk. So I'm going to go once around the stalk, and then I'm going to add in the wire. This is quite a difficult operation, and then wrap the silver wire around the green wire. Now what you've got there is, it is attached. However, just to be doubly secure, I'm putting a dot of glue on it, a big swatch of glue, because this sort of silicone style glue will melt clear, will stay clear, and it will hold it quite securely. So I'm just going to pop that to one side. So the other thing I've got in here are that I'm going to use various different leaf shapes. This one is supposed to be mistletoe. I think it does look quite like mistletoe. And what I would do with this is I cut out the shape, the leaf shape, and then can you see them on there? I got a silver wire. You'll have seen me do this when I did my autumn wreath. It's a very similar method. I get a silver wire and bend it in half, and then I just glue the leaves to it with a big blob of glue just to hold it. And these I glue in pairs to the wire, so one on each end. So we leave that to dry. I'll just pop that again to one side because I wanted to show you how to do it, but I have got some already done. Don't think that's going to dry very quickly. Right. So for the mistletoe, I would make a sprig of mistletoe by, excuse me while I just find another one. I would use 2 of these pieces. I've got so much now in my little basket. I can't see the other mistletoe. It's right to the bottom. I'm going to pull out the whole hank of leaves and then I can show you as we go. There we go. So I've done some bigger leaves and some smaller leaves. I've also done the pearl beads, which are like mistletoe berries. I always use 3. I don't know why, but 3 seems right. So I'll just fish those out and show you how to make this mistletoe. So as I said, we're going to use 2 large and 2 small, and the 2 small ones are going to go on first. So you take your thicker wire and about 2/3 of the way down, just pinch it, your silver wire together, and then start wearing it on. So you're just wrapping it around like that. Okay, and then you can manipulate those, bend them. So I would put the berries on next, and as I say, I like to do them in 3s because it appeals to me for some way. So you're just going to twist the 3 together, and then again you're going to twist them onto your stiffer stem. Get everything caught up here. Okay, so there we go. And then you're going to add the other pair of leaves just above. So this time I would use give them shorter stems and then wire them on like that. Now I use these in my Christmas door wreaths and with a class, and everybody loved them. So there we go. You've got a little sprig of mistletoe. So I'll show you the ivy. I'll do one with felt. I've got some felt ivy here ready. Not so much. Oh, there's the paper. I've done 2 stems of ivy. They're done in exactly the same way as I just showed you. You start with a small leaf at the top, and then your leaves get gradually bigger as they go down. So that's the ivy. I have also done a holly. I've done lots of holly leaves, but this particular one I've cut out, still joined in the middle, so there's 3. And I've used these very pretty frosted looking beads. Now I'll show you how I did that one, because here's one I made earlier. So this is your trifolar holly leaf. I started with a template, and then as I got a bit better, I just started cutting out freehand. Holly leaves are quite easy to cut. What I've done there is cut a little tiny slit in it so that your wires can go through. So you start with your holly beads. I think I'll use these ones this time. They're already in 3s, so that's dead handy. I'm just peeling off the backing that wraps them together, and then I'll get one off. So you start with your holly leaves, instead, like with the mistletoe, we started with the berries. And then you just wrap that round your stiffer stem, so you've got a nice stiff stem. Okay, like that. Then that goes through the slit in your holly. So mine's not really very in the middle. And if you've seen me working with the autumn wreath, you'll recall I bought cheap felt that was really too thin for felty things, but it's good for this. Just want to put a blob of glue there, and as it dries, just hold it up slightly and pinch it without burning yourself. Regular viewers will know I burn myself all the time. What you want to do is just create a sort of cup shape. And then you could add another round of leaves underneath if you wanted to. I haven't got that many, so I won't. Okay, so that's your holly berry. I would also wire up. I'm going to use some more berries already wired. What else have I got here to show you? I'll just quickly show you how to wire a bead, because if you've got your beads for your mistletoe. So there's your bead. This is a pearl. Can you see it? You look for the hole and you put your silver wire through and thread the bead onto it about halfway down. It's very simple. And then just twist the bead so that it's fastened to the wire. It's very simple to do. Right, the final element, I think, is this. This is your recycled bauble. Again, you need green, and you need one of your thicker green wires and one of your finer silver wires. And the way we do it is, where the top is on your bauble, where you would put the string, put the silver wire through it and just very sort of try and twist it very tightly so you've got no slack in where it fastens. And then take your green wire and poke it through until it touches the other end. Then quickly wrap your silver wire around the green, and that will give you a quite sturdy bauble. I think that's all the things we're going to use on our wreath. So let's go back to the wreath. I've also got here some more leaves already wired up and various different shapes of leaves, but not anything I haven't shown you already. So basically now all you do is find where you want to put your other bits. So I always like to start with long ones. The wire helps you to, you can bend it. So I'm going to put this ivy in among. Another thing to think about is how it's going to be observed. In that, are you going to see more from the sides or more from the top? So you need to. The only thing that isn't super important in this is the actually the inside, because that's going to be hidden by the candles. So I'll need plenty of silver wires. So the ivy, I think I may put along that side. Now, because I only have so much of each, I'm going to have to just be careful. Oh, I should never put that stem up on now with how much I use, because get your silver wire around it and wire it with a twist at the back. So once your ivy's secured, then you can manipulate where you want it to go. So there we go. That's quite nice. So that's filling in that gap there. Now, as I turn it round, we can see it's pretty much filled the gap there and there. But there's another gap here, and that coincidentally is right opposite my other ivy. So that will appeal to my slightly OCD-ness of having it symmetrical, which is why I like to use 3, because it kind of puts me off my need to have everything symmetrical. So I'm just going to tip that up slightly and put my ivy here. Take a wire across it. Like that. Oh, it's got stuck now. I'll take one at the bottom stem, hold it there, and then one near the top of the stem, I think. So I might need to bend our green wire stem a little bit, but that's why we use wire. And again, I'm going to go around the back and twist that on. So I fastened that ivy. Sorry, I keep moving out your camera edge. Fastened the ivy, that sprig, at the top part and the bottom. And now I'm just going to work the leaves on the wires in between my foliage and get it to mingle. So you can see it's mingling in there. So you keep going round and round with your various different sorts of foliage. I'll show you what I've got here. They're all got tangled up now. I've got various holly leaves. So I've just cut out single holly leaves. And when I've wired them, I've pinched them together. So you get that sort of almost 3D effect. They're not flat. And these are going to just go wherever you need them. So again, I want to fill in any gaps we've got like there. So I'll maybe use a green wire and wire a couple of these holly leaves that I've made onto it. I'll use all the light green ones. I did try making the marking them with the pen to make them look variegated, but it didn't work on the felt. So I'm going to put that there, and then I'm going to wire that again, bend it a little bit, give it a bit of character, and wire that into the gap there. I'm aware I'm using a lot of time today, so I may just have to not sort of rush this a little bit, but I will tidy it up and then add the picture, the final picture to the feed. So you keep on just adding your wired in. Already this smells amazing, I have to tell you. So right, I'll leave the leaves to one. Oh, the last thing I'll put on is the sprig of mistletoe, because you need to have a sprig of mistletoe at Christmas, don't you? I'll pop that in there. I'm going to bend that up slightly so that they do show, the berries show a bit better. Need to be that side. And I'm going to twist that a little bit. And then I've already got a twist of wire there that I can pop that stem under. Now, I've gone for a red, green and gold theme, because that's what my table will be. But you can use any colour scheme you like. So all my other bits tend to be like that. So there, right. So next thing we're going to add, I think, is pine cones, because they need to be placed fairly strategically. So this is the one that we glued up earlier, and I'm just going to show you how to make it look like a snowy one. I've got plain ones, I've got silver ones, but this is my chalkboard pen. That's, I just need to prime it a bit. So you can, it's not going to work very well. Forget that, we're not going to do that. Place your other elements where you want them to be wired in. So I've got my pine cones, and again, I'm going to place these where there's big gaps. Put that one there. And this long one, I'm going to put here. Maybe a little bit further away from that one. And finally, the silver. I might not use the silver one. Yes, I will. Put it there. In among the base. Like that. So now, for this last bit, because I'm running out of time, I'm just going to place all the elements in. You will wire them in the same way that we wired everything else. I've also got some, as I said before, these sort of golden spikes. And lay them in as well. Put one there. I've done three, but I haven't. So I've got this. I'm just at random laying sort of elements on and deciding if they're going to work where I lay them, and I think they are. So I've also got among my recycled baubles, I want to put some red in it really. I found these two nice red glittery ones. So again, I'm going to put them sort of opposite each other a bit. Don't worry about the wires sticking out. They will all disappear when I get round to wiring it together. I've got some golden bows and some red bows. So again, they're quite good for filling in any gaps and hiding the base underneath. What else have I got? I've got these. Oh yes. I'll take that silver pinecone out because I've just discovered another naturally coloured one. So again, I will use that. Everything is falling about a bit, but it will be secured eventually. So you've also got your orange slices. They can be wired in. See, we are covering gaps now. The last bit of this, of the arrangement of this, is just basically covering the gaps. And because they're wired, they can be moved around again. I also have the cinnamon, which I'm going to place here. Right. As we are really getting short of time now, I'm not gonna wire it all on now. I'm going to place the whole assembly on my plate so you can see the effect of it. Please ignore the wires. And then you would put your candle in the middle. Now I am aware, I'm just going to lift that up a little bit. A little bit. Can you see it all? I am aware that this has been a little bit chaotic. It's not how I would have wanted it to be, but I will finish this and I will send pictures to the admins and get them to, I can't really see the candle because it's tall, and get them to put them on for you. But you get the basic idea. You've got all your elements. You know exactly how to wire everything up. You can use different things. It's entirely up to you what you use, but this will be in my centerpiece for my Christmas table this year. I will get it finished and get you some pictures posted. I'll also do short video tutorials for the pot and the twig wreath that I showed you earlier, and one or two other things, because I've got lots of elements left now, and I'll pop them onto my page. So if you have a look tonight, you may see them on my page. Right, I'm just going to pop you back up. Something I might take you for a little walk. I don't know whether we did the Bling Up Your Baubles session quite a few weeks back now. It seems like ages ago, and we made lots of recycled baubles. So I'm just going to move to one side, and you can see my twig tree. I'm going to take you over a bit closer. So hanging on my twig tree, which is painted gold and has now got little fairy lights all over it, are all the baubles that we recycled. Some of them I did with other tutorials, but you can see how lovely they all look. And I'm hoping that you've got your baubles hanging on the tree as well. So pop you back down. As this is my last session of this year, so I will like to take the opportunity to wish you all Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, happy crafting for next year, and I'll be back in January. So come back to see me then. So once more, Merry Christmas, everybody, and goodbye.